So, without further ado, let's begin our webinar experience. So, welcome once again. Today we're going to be talking about the Microsoft Teams connector add-on for VitalPBX. This is a brand new add-on module we have for VitalPBX, which will allow you to connect VitalPBX directly with Microsoft Teams. No SBC required. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. Just as a heads up, this will not be a tutorial on how to connect Microsoft Teams with VitalPBX. For a step-by-step guide, we have a blog article, which hopefully one of my moderators will be able to post it on the Q&A section. Once again, if you click on that like little chat bubbles on your top right hand corner or middle, you should be able to see that those little like chat bubbles with a little question mark on it. You will be able to see published questions and answers we have given there, and there my moderators will be able to make an announcement for you. So I'm gonna ask them to post a link. Over there, so you can access that blog, or you can find it if you go to vitalpbx.org, and then on the top right hand corner you will find the blog section, and you should be able to see our blog article with the step-by-step guide for the Microsoft Teams connector add-on, and you can even copy paste a lot of the commands there. Today we're just going to have an overview of the add-on itself. So we should be able to proceed. So we have our little presentation over here. You can see me here on the lower right hand corner, and presentation will be over there. So let's go. So the Microsoft Teams connector add-on. First of all, let me introduce myself if you do not know who I am. My name is Joseph Montes. I'm channel manager for North America, Eurasia, and Africa. And we might have spoken through emails. I communicate a lot through that communications channel with a lot of your questions you send us to the sales email. I've been working with VitalPBX ever since the beginning of the project, starting as a beta tester, now channel manager and brand expert. So I would be able to answer any of your questions with regards to VitalPBX and the different products that we offer. So a brief introduction to what is Microsoft Teams, just in case you have been left out of the loop, and why we are promoting a connection with this specific product. So Microsoft Teams is a corporate collaboration tool, quite popular nowadays with various enterprise companies that want to have communications between their employees. So it is quite a neat tool. We have been using it here on the VitalPBX offices, and it has been quite a great tool to use. And we also have we also are using Microsoft Teams right now. If you're watching us live, you're watching us through a Microsoft Teams live event for this webinar, and hopefully you're all looking at all of this very nice detail, and without the need of doing any type of external installations. Microsoft Teams is part of Microsoft's suite of applications. So if you have a Microsoft 365 subscription, you already have access to Teams. It's just terms of having somebody manage it, and you will be able to um, use Microsoft Teams as part of your tools for your company. It is quite popular due to its video meetings, having the ability to share links, and with all of this post pandemic or through pandemic world, video meetings and remote connections have been quite common nowadays. And you can see that I'm still working from home. Well, now it's because of personal preference, but video meetings is one of the big ones for Microsoft Teams. You have your chat, you have your file share. It's also a file sharing hub since it connects with all of Microsoft's suite of applications. You also have access to OneDrive, so you can do a lot of file sharing through there, and use SharePoint to share them externally as well. So that's just a little introduction to what Teams is and why is it important for us to have this connection. And also given that a lot of users nowadays are transitioning to also using Teams as one of their major tools inside of their companies. So why make the connection if Microsoft Teams is already this big collaboration tool for you to use? In this case, first is communication unification. Microsoft Teams is on a per user basis. It's not just a machine that you install, similar to VitalPBX. You can install it on a server and then simply have all of your users use it. Microsoft Teams is served per user, not per server. So you might have part of your company be under Microsoft Teams, but then certain areas in your company, certain employees will not be under Microsoft Teams per se. So you can still communicate with them through Microsoft Teams by connecting it with your VitalPBX or your PBX, so you can have that unification of your different communication sources. Second is cost. Similarly to how not everybody on your company would have Microsoft Teams on it under their accounts, you might save a lot of cost by choosing which members of your companies will have access to the Microsoft Teams application, and which ones will be under the same under your regular PBX service for the different extensions. Also features. There are a lot of features that the PBX, and especially VitalPBX, will have that Microsoft Teams does not have available, or it would be some additional extra cost that will increment given to its per user nature. So there are a lot of features that a PBX, a traditional PBX, or a VoIP PBX, like its VitalPBX, will have, but Microsoft Teams will not have available. So you can complement each other by doing this connection between your PBX and Microsoft Teams. And Microsoft Teams is not a PBX, at least as of yet. Once again, we fall back into the features. You might want to have certain applications or certain connections or certain types of API endpoints or certain information that you would like to have, which Microsoft Teams would not provide as easily or at all. So by making this connection, you're complementing two powerful tools and making the best of your communications. So, what is a typical connection between a PBX and Microsoft Teams? So, typically, you would use an SBC as an intermediary. So, you would have your Microsoft Teams application, which is cloud-based. So you would have your users connect, actually through the cloud and then to Microsoft Teams, but let's say that they're using Microsoft Teams directly. Then through the cloud, they would connect to an SBC. This would be a separate appliance, a separate server. Nowadays, I know that there are some SBCs that you can mount in the cloud, that you can install in the cloud. But traditionally, these have been additional appliances that you would have within your network. So you would have this SBC between the cloud and Microsoft Teams and your PBX. So Microsoft Teams connects through the cloud to your SBC, and then that SBC connects to your PBX. And that's how you would be able to establish your communications between your PBX users and your Microsoft Teams users. That would be one of the typical connections between Microsoft Teams and a PBX. But in VitalPBX, we have it a little bit different. So you can see that the schematic is a little shorter. This is because you would still have your Microsoft Teams users in your cloud, because that's the nature of Microsoft Teams. But you can see here that the connection is directly with VitalPBX. And this is all done through a PJ-SIP trunk. So you would have your PJ-SIP trunk directly to Microsoft Teams, and you would be able to communicate between the users on Microsoft Teams side and your PBX users. So you can have everything from calling extension to extension, meaning you can have an extension number, a part of the numbering plan in Microsoft Teams, call an extension on VitalPBX directly, no intermediary. You can also have VitalPBX have your PSTN connection. Let's say that you have a PSTN that either is not available on the list of providers for Microsoft Teams, or maybe you have a special tariff or special costs that you would like to save some money on, and you can have those under VitalPBX. So you would be able to have that connection from Microsoft Teams. You can place outbound calls through VitalPBX. And here we do not have it outlined, the connection to the PSTN, but knowing that VitalPBX is a PBX, you can assume already that you would have PSTN connections. So you can communicate from Microsoft Teams to VitalPBX, and then through to your VoIP provider or telephony provider. So this will give you better costs, since you do not have that additional appliance in the middle. Eliminating that SBC connection, you can then have the VitalPBX connection directly. So now, requirements. So in terms of requirements to connect Microsoft Teams with your PBX, first we would have licensing from Microsoft's side. So this would be a Microsoft 365 license. So you can have the Microsoft 365 E5 license, or you can have a base Microsoft 365 license plus a phone system license. This is how Microsoft 365 works. So you would have the Microsoft E5 license is a complete enterprise level license that will already include the phone system license. So there's no need to purchase additional licensing to have that direct routing connection. While you can also have a base Microsoft 365 license, meaning you can have a basic license, a standard license, or any of the other enterprise licenses like E1 or E3 that do not have the phone system license, and you can purchase the phone system license separately. It's useful to know that both of these licensing options are offered per user from Microsoft 365 side. So that is something that you would consider. That's why going on the cheapest denominator, you can have your base Microsoft 365 license, like a basic or a standard Microsoft 365 license, and then additionally purchase the phone system license and assign it to that same user. Okay, my presentation does not want to move forward. I will move it forward from here. Okay, so VitalPBX requirements. Well, you must have the Microsoft Teams connector add-on installed. And you would need to have a license for the Microsoft Teams connector add-on. Additional information about this will be given later on this same webinar. So this is just the basic requirements that you will need to have for your connection between Microsoft Teams and VitalPBX. So the process to connect Microsoft Teams with your PBX. On Microsoft Teams side, you would need to have the appropriate licensing assigned to the users. You need to have a valid FQDN. All of this will work only under a valid FQDN. Microsoft Teams does not allow connections with IP addresses or registrations. It's all done through a valid domain name. So you would need to have a valid FQDN. You would need to have your PBX working on the cloud. It will not work under a local network only. Even if you have an internet connection, you would need to have the ports forwarded and your DNS configurations to have that valid domain name to access your PBX. So you would always need a valid domain name to work with Teams. You will need to create a direct routing with a number to the user. So on Microsoft Teams side, you would need to have that numbering for the users. And once again, the direct routing and the numbering will only work if you have that phone system license to it. And to create the trunk connection, this is basically direct routing once again, to have that connection from Microsoft Teams to VitalPBX on a direct routing level. Once again, this is only an overview or an outline of what is needed in the process. If you would like to see a step-by-step guide, you can visit our blog where we delineate every single step that you will need to follow, and you can even copy paste a lot of the commands. Since on Microsoft Teams side, it's there's some PowerShell that you also need to do, and we delineate all of that very detailed on the blog. And we're also planning on creating a full technical video that will explain that and show you how it's done on a step-by-step basis. So today we're just doing the overview, but here it gives you like an outline of what you need to do, just like a checklist on what to follow. Next, on VitalPBX side, for VitalPBX, let's take a look into a demo machine. So we can take a look into this demo machine over here. This is running the latest version of VitalPBX, which is version 3.1. This is the version that has the Microsoft Teams add-on included that you can download and install. So there are quite a few steps that you would need to follow. Once again, this is not a tutorial on what to do. You can still read our blog or wait for our technical video, which will explain everything as well. But to give you an overview on what has been done on the VitalPBX side, instead of just showing you a checklist, you can see it here. First for PJSIP, and once again we're using PJSIP for this connection. We're going to need a Let's Encrypt certificate here. Once again, going back to that valid domain name and FQDN. We're using SSL. The SSL method is TLS version 1-2. version 1.2. And we have also configured our NAT settings. In this case, here you would have your external IP address for your NAT settings, and you will also need to, and if you are doing it through port forwarding, or you have a local network for your PBX, you will declare that local network here as well. And when you have that Microsoft Teams add-on installed, so you can see it here. This is a demo machine. It's running without any specific license, but here you can see that we have installed that Microsoft Teams license, being right now 1.0.0-2. So you can see that we have this add-on installed, and this add-on will give us the additional fields and additional parameters that we will need to use. So here you can see that we have the MS Teams domain, and this would be your PBX's domain. So this would be the same domain that you would use to access this PBX. Okay, so that's the PJZip settings. We also created a device profile for this for us to use on the trunk that we're going to create. So here we're using TLS. That's why for the encryption of the communication, and then we enable other settings like force hard forward, rewrite contact, RTP symmetric, send diversion headers. Once again, you will be able to see these same configurations which you will need to do for a new device profile. In this case, I called it MS Teams. And also for media encryption, we're using SDES to encrypt media. Okay, so this would be the device profile. Now that we have those backend settings set, we would be able to go ahead and create the different trunking and connections between the two systems. So we created a trunk. In this case, I called it Microsoft Teams. And here you can see that I have applied that profile called MS Teams. I will make sure that the codecs are EULA, ALA, and GSM. Those are the codecs that Microsoft Teams will use. Here, the other important part is the transport. You can see that we have this new transport called TLS plus MS Teams. This transport is only included if you have installed the Microsoft Teams add-on. Then you have the contacts and match, since this is a PJZip trunk. This contacts and match will need to go to the PSTN hub for Microsoft. Once again, all of this you can copy and paste it from the blog article that comes with this add-on module. And then on the from domain, it's important to notice that we also have declared here the domain, the valid domain that you have for your PBX. So here you have that PBX domain. And we have turned off the required registration since it will register through that valid domain name. Okay, so this would be the trunk configuration that we did. And then we can have that outbound and inbound routes created. So for outbound, when we're creating an outbound route to Microsoft Teams, we would do the following. We would have our pattern based on the extension numbers or the numbering plan that we have reserved for Microsoft Teams, the ones that we have assigned to our users on Microsoft Teams. And then under prepend, we added a plus sign because Microsoft Teams is using that E164 international standard. It will always expect a plus at the beginning, and you will see in a second that it also sends us a plus with our country code. So here you can see we have created this outbound route. I'll have also made it intra-company just so I can send as a caller ID my internal caller ID, so my extension and my the name that I have assigned to the extension. Now for inbound routing, we have here MS Teams. So extensions on this demo server start with 2000. So here you can see that I am creating a DID range. The reason that we need to make this DID range instead of just having them directly called to the extensions is due to the, once again, that E164 international standard that Microsoft Teams uses. So by default, it's going to send us this. Well, in our case, it's sending us a +1 because our server is configured for the US. So this can also change for you if you have configured and established your Microsoft Teams connection on another country. So we would recommend that if calls are not routing inbound, that you open an asterisk CLI and trace the incoming call, and you will be able to see which E164 option the Microsoft Teams is sending you. If it's sending you a +55 or a +52, just to give you an example, if you're on Mexico or Brazil, for example. In our case, it's giving us a +1. And on DID ranges, we can select the number of digits that we want from this DID pattern, since obviously our extensions do not start with a +1. So we're only taking the last 4 digits, which would be coinciding with the extension number. And if it coincides with an extension number, an existing extension number, it will route it directly to it. So this is these are the tricks that we have for us to be able to route calls to and from Microsoft Teams. But finally, there's one additional configuration which comes with the Microsoft Teams connection add-on, and we will see how this correlates with licensing. So if we go to, well, it's actually in settings and then PBX settings, we can go to the Microsoft Teams module. And here you can see which numbers are allowed for us to call to Microsoft Teams. So here is where you would declare which numbers belong to Microsoft Teams that you are allowed to call. This is how we connect, how we license the ability to call Microsoft Teams number. In this case, I'm calling to a user, which on Microsoft Teams has the number 3000. We have the ability to add them individually, one by one, or we can import a CSV file, that will have all of the numbers that we want to add, if you want to add all of those numbers in bulk. We will see a little bit more about licensing later on this webinar in just a moment. But once you have all of this added, you have your trunk, you have your inbound route, you have configured your PJSIP settings and device profile, and you have also followed the instructions, which once again are available on our blog, on how to connect, what to do on Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams Admin Center side. You will have your connection between Microsoft Teams and VitalPBX directly. Once again, we're going to have a more detailed video, technical video. Today we're just doing an overview on how to do that. But if you want to see the step-by-step guide and you can follow it now, it's under our blog, which should be available on the Q&A section. Okay, so now that we have all of this done, we have our Microsoft Teams connected. Let's do a live demo about it. So if we go to, in this case, we have Microsoft Teams We have Microsoft Teams available here on our right. We have a VitalPBX extension here on our left. So we are able to call between each other. So I can do it from VitalPBX to Microsoft Teams side. So I can dial 3002, and here hopefully you can see on Microsoft Teams my extension number is plus 3002. Once again, Microsoft Teams following that E164 international standard. That's why it always adds that plus at the beginning, and that's why we prepend a plus sign at the beginning. So when we start the call, you can see here Joseph Montes 2303 is calling you. I can go ahead and answer. In this case, I do not have a microphone or camera connected to this remote Windows server. But here you can see we have the call ongoing, and we are able to communicate between both sides. And now I can hang up. Perfect. You can see here that it was an incoming call. In this case, I sent my internal caller ID and caller ID number and extension number, caller ID extension number and caller ID name. So it says Joseph Montes 2303, and I can do it the other way around. So I can call from Microsoft Teams. I dial 2003. I call. Okay, I'm going to continue. And there you can hear actually also my physical extension ringing. And here you can see that plus 3002 is calling me. I can go ahead and answer. And I am able to communicate between the two. And as you can see, it's as transparent as it gets. You will get your caller ID number and your caller ID name. The connection is perfectly transparent. And as I mentioned, you can also use this to have the ability of calling PSTN numbers or calling certain services that connect through your VitalPBX system, and have that transparent communications between your Microsoft Teams users and your VitalPBX users. So leaving call, and you can see here that we had that call. And as you can see, Microsoft Teams called us to that +1 2003. So that's why if you remember on our inbound calls, we had this specific pattern where we would have that +1 20XX. And in this case, once again, the X would be any number from 0 to 9. So 2003 will coincide with that, and it got routed. So you're able to have that communication right on the ready. So it's quite exciting. It's quite exciting for us to have that connection on the ready. So that was basically a live demo on VitalPBX and Microsoft Teams connecting to each other. So if we go back to the presentation, now comes the good part. What is the pricing for the Microsoft Teams connector add-on? I know that a lot of you have been waiting to see this. Well, here is a basic table on how the licensing prices look like. Once again, following that same philosophy that we have with every single add-on for VitalPBX, with the community version, meaning VitalPBX without any license applied to it, you already get 2 Microsoft Teams user calls. So you can call, so you can add 2 Microsoft Teams allowed numbers for free, no charges. So this way you can test everything out, and you can have your Microsoft Teams users, and you can call them and you can receive calls from them as well. So with the community version, you get 2 users. If you remembered, we have to declare the allowed numbers. So this is how they correlate. The pro version of VitalPBX. So if you remember, the pro version of VitalPBX is whenever you have any license registered to your system. So you can have anything from the cheapest individual license, doesn't matter, as long as you have one license registered on your PBX. It can be branding, can be maintenance, OpenVPN, Sonata switchboard, Sonata recordings, anything that you have, any license that you have registered to your PBX, that will give you the pro version of VitalPBX, and this will give you 5 Microsoft Teams users at it. So it can be any individual license, any licensing plan, as long as there's a license registered. You will already have this 5 users added to your Microsoft Teams allowed numbers that you can add. And then comes the payment plans. So there are no Microsoft Teams users calls that you can call Microsoft Teams on any plans. This is separate to the licensing plans, adding the Microsoft Teams users call. So you can purchase packages from 25 users for $75 per month or $750 per month. Once again, all of these are MSRP prices. You can have a 50 users package for $125 a month or $1250 per year. You can have 100 users for $175 per month or $1750 per year. 200 users, meaning that you can call 200 MS Teams users on the allowed numbers for $250 per month. That's $2,500 per year, or $2,500 per year. Once again, choose one or the other. And then you can have 500 users, which would be $500 US dollars per month, or 5,000 per year. And if you want to have more than 500, 501 and over, you can always contact us and we would be able to license that. So things to note over here, there are no one-time payment options for the licensing of this particular add-on. Since this is very corporate, this is very unique type of add-on. And it's also good to notice, as of now, on this first iteration of the Microsoft Teams connector add-on, that it does not have the multi-tenant support at this moment. So future versions, we're looking into it. We will notify you if and when this becomes available. But at this moment, it's on a main system basis. So there's no multi-tenant support as of now for the Microsoft Teams connector add-on. This might come in the future. I can never negate anything in the future, but there's no time frame for it at the moment. So for now, this would be for corporate use, where you would have a dedicated server for that corporate office. Now we'll look at your questions in just a moment. But basically, this would be the licensing for the add-on. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to contact us to sales@vitalpbx.org, and we will be able to answer any of your comments through there directly. So, okay. Any questions? I can see that a lot of you have been active on the Q&A section. Once again, on your upper right-hand corner, you would be able to find an icon that has two speech bubbles with a question mark at the middle, and you will be able to ask us any questions through there. So some of the questions that have been asked and that our team has answered would be, well, if this is multi-tenant, not at the moment. There's no multi-tenant support at the moment for this add-on. Once again, I can never negate the future. Let me also transition to the full camera so you can see me a little bit better instead of the little square. Not at this moment. Once again, I cannot negate the future. It's always a possibility, but there's no time frame for that to be available, meaning the multi-tenant support. Is it possible to define a trial license? Once again, with the community version, meaning VitalPBX without any license applied to it, you can perfectly install this add-on module, and you will have two allowed Microsoft Teams extension numbers that you can add to the allowed numbers. And if you have any license, once again, this can be any individual license or any licensing plan, you will automatically have 5 MS Teams numbers, which you can add. And this way you can try it. You can try it. Let's see. Another question shared with me here from the team. We have here, I thought this would be a standard Teams integration feature like other PBX, so we can use it as a selling point to get new PBX clients, seeing that it's just for us to use ourselves now. Would it be possible in the feature, I guess that would mean the future, for tenants have their own domain, or is VitalPBX architecture not like that? Once again, this can always happen in the future to have the multi-tenant support. This is, once again, VitalPBX constantly growing. If you're a long time customer, you will know that VitalPBX has come a long way with a lot of features, and we are always constantly looking to improve. This is something that we're looking into, just have no time frame at the moment. For this, it's not only for personal use, but if you have any corporate clients which you have given them a dedicated server, be it a virtual machine or any type of dedicated service for them, you would be able to use it perfectly. Another question, this is 5 calls per site or 5 users only can make calls? Okay, so it's not a concurrent call setting. This is a how many numbers or how many users you can call to on Microsoft Teams site. So with 5, we mean that you can have that you can call 5 users from Microsoft Teams. You can declare 5 numbers and you can call them. If they have more than one call, that's also a possibility. Another question here, you indicated that it could only work if it's on the cloud and not on premise, but if in my infrastructure I managed to open the appropriate ports, could it eventually be put in production? Be put into production? Sorry about that, my stutter is a little bit wild today. I guess I didn't explain myself correctly. It's not only for cloud installations. Once again, you can have your on-premise installations. The only thing is that you would need to have those appropriate ports forwarded, and also note that you would need to have that NAT settings for the PJSIP settings well configured with your public IP address and your local network declared over there for this to work. And you can perfectly have that, and you can manage your DNS servers to have that to have those records for your valid domain name pointing to your on-premise installation with those ports forwarded correctly. Any chance of having a plan less than 25 or a per user option? This would be something that we would be able to discuss with the rest of the team. As of now, 25 is the lowest package available. We will discuss it with the rest of the board partners and the rest of the management team to see if there would be a possibility for a lower a lower package option, per user option. I don't think we would ever have a per user option at this moment, because this is also the same case with the other add-ons that we have extension packages for. We do not sell individual users on those. We have just defined packages. So, for example, Sonata recordings, Sonata stats, Sonata billing, you purchase those per package. So this would be the same idea with this one. If we can have something lower than 25, that will be something that we will have to discuss internally prior to making any notice of that. Another question here. Hello, can I route an external call from from PBX provider to a Teams user? Yeah, perfectly. Inside of VitalPBX, you can you can perfectly route the external calls from trunk to trunk. That is a possibility. You can also have custom destinations as well, so you can have that routing from that PSTN goes into your VitalPBX, and then from VitalPBX goes to your Teams user. That is perfectly possible, and you can tackle that in many ways. So, for example, I was out of the country not so long ago, and I forwarded my extension, my physical extension, to my Teams extension number. So I was able to handle calls through Teams that way. That was just some type of testing that I was doing for this particular add-on module. Let's see. Do we have any other questions that have not been answered, or that were just answered through text? Okay. Okay, so most of the questions were multi-tenant support. That is something, once again, that we're heavily looking into. But once again, this first iteration of the add-on module will be main system only, no multi-tenant support. Then when will this add-on be available to buy from your site? Well, now. It's already available on the website. So if you go to vitalpbx.org and then go to subscriptions, we reformatted a little bit our navigation. So if you go to subscriptions, you will be able to find there the Microsoft Teams option. So you can go there and select it. Can we say that Teams is a good soft phone? Yeah, you can say it. You wouldn't be able to have, for example, a video call from Teams and VitalPBX, since Microsoft Teams, through their direct routing, only allow for audio codecs. There are no video codecs supported. So you can say it's a good soft phone if you want to have it run like that. But once again, remember that Microsoft Teams is a lot more than this. It is focused as a collaboration tool, rather than just a soft phone. But yeah, if you want to use it as a soft phone, that is a great probability. And once again, you can make calls to your PSTN or VoIP provider, and vice versa. From your PSTN or VoIP provider, you can route calls through VitalPBX to your Microsoft Teams users. Once again, the add-on, when is it available? It is available right now. Once again, go to vitalpbx.org and go to the subscription option from our navigation menu on the top of the website, and select subscriptions, and then Microsoft Teams connector from there. You will be able to select the different packages. So it's available to purchase right now. Once again, is it possible to define a trial license? Once again, you can, with the same philosophy of every VitalPBX add-on, you can install every single add-on, including commercial add-ons, without any purchase, without any licenses purchased. Once again, when you do not have any license, you can have up to 2 Microsoft Teams allowed numbers created. So you can call to 2 Microsoft Teams users, be it direct routing to a Microsoft Teams user or to an auto attendant, just to give you an example. So you can test this, and once again, this is not time trial. You can have this for an unlimited amount of time, so you can heavily test it and see how well you like it. Then all of the prices shown are MSRP, right? Just to make sure. Yes, all of the prices that we showed today are MSRP. Once again, I'm gonna show them to you here. Once again, all of these prices are MSRP. So these are the MSRP prices for the different packages that we offer for the Microsoft Teams connector add-on. And once again, all of this is available right now on our website to purchase. So if you go to vitalpbx.org and go on the navigation menu to subscriptions, should be around the middle-ish. You click on that, and then you will see the option for Microsoft Teams connector add-on there. You select that, and you will be presented with the option of choosing your preferred package. Okay, so any other questions? This webinar extended a little bit, but hopefully you all got a good sense on how it works. My team is saying we're done, I guess, because there seems to be no additional questions. Hopefully everything on how this works, how the licensing works, was clear. Once again, if you would like to have the technical information on the step-by-step guide on how to do all of this, you would be able to follow our blog. So once again, if you go to vitalpbx.org, and on the blog section, you will see the Microsoft Teams connection blog that we created. It gives you a step-by-step on everything that you need to do on Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams admin centers side, showing you every single command. You will go to the PowerShell to enable and do some of the configurations from Microsoft Teams side, especially for direct routing. All of that is done through PowerShell. We give you the exact commands so you can copy and paste. Just make sure to add your specific domain, and you will be able to log into your Microsoft admin account from the PowerShell and perform all of your direct routing configurations through there. So all of that is detailed on the blog. You will be able to follow it, and you'll be able to use that. Okay, so we have an additional question here. Once again, Teams can have outbound route through the PBX. Yes, this is totally a possibility. Actually, let me do something. Let me show you just an example on how this could be done. So if we come back to our VitalPBX configuration or demo machine, I showed you this inbound route to go to extensions, but I also have this other one called MS Teams Outbound PSTN, just to make it a little bit more descriptive. So here you can see that I have configured a regular US Canada DID pattern, and always make notice that I added this +1, and then this pattern will allow me to call any number in the US and Canada. And then for the destination, I have routed it directly to a trunk. So I will get that call through that DID pattern, and I will be able to route that directly to the trunk, since my VoIP provider allows me to send E164 compliant numbers to place the calls. If you would like to remove that +1, that +55, +52, whichever one you might get from Microsoft Teams, you can direct it through an outbound route, which uses that as a prefix. So if you have that under a prefix, so let's say that I would have like, let's say +52. So I have that +52, and then my different number there, whichever pattern it follows. I will receive that +52, and then through the outbound route, remove it. I just need to make sure that I route it through that outbound route. But yeah, it's totally possible to have outbound routes from Microsoft Teams. So whenever somebody calls this number, it will get to VitalPBX, and then it will be routed directly to the trunk, which is connected to your VoIP provider or PSTN, or you can send it through an outbound route if you want to process the DID pattern with prefixes and prepends. So, any additional last minute questions? Okay, so I can see that a lot of it has been answered, and this should be it. So we're all set. My team has been answering a lot of the questions through the Q&A. I have hopefully answered a lot of those questions through the video as well. And there's nothing else but to thank you for coming today. We appreciate you being here. This has been our first live event through Microsoft Teams. Since we are promoting a Microsoft Teams connector, why not use the Microsoft tools? Hopefully the production was done well. And once again, all of this has been recorded to be viewed later on our YouTube channel once I have processed this video, which is about 1 hour long. I was expecting the presentation to be 20-30 minutes at most, and apparently I have gone a little bit overboard with questions and some explanations. So hopefully everything was clear. Once again, if you have any additional questions later on, you can send us an email to sales@vitalpbx.org, and we will be able to assist you there. So thank you for coming. Okay, there's a final question. Have you played all those guitars? Yeah, guitars and bass. Yeah, that's one of my longest running hobbies. Okay, okay then. So I will see you next time. Thank you all for coming.